So welcome, and we're going to, just to go through quickly the agenda for tonight. After we do some welcome and introductions, we're going to go into what we call our Christalis period, the meeting where we share personal stories as we think about empathy, which is our theme for this month. And then after that, we will come back and share as a group sort of what our passions are, what we want help with in our community, and that's really part of our mission to connect the good in our community. And then we'll close and hopefully be done at about 8:30 to allow time, folks, as much time as you'd like to help Amy clean up, but also to connect with each other for things that you hear during the meeting. Before I get into the intention statement, I'd like to go around and have everybody just quickly say your name so everyone knows who we're talking to this evening. So I'll start. Philip.
My name's Marilyn.
My name is Malta. I'm Paya.
I'm Hans.
I'm David.
I'm Harish.
I'm Amy.
My name is John.
My name is Ajahn.
And I am Art.
I'm Jan.
Chip.
Okay. So I'm here. I always like to start out as to why I'm here, because I think it might relate to the reason some of you are here, is that I've been involved with Connecting the Good for many years now, and what I've seen happen is just really remarkable things. Just a few days ago, I was at a farm in downtown Reno called Lost City Farm. This is a project that has been started by two women to grow food for our region in downtown Reno. They actually had to change the laws in order to allow them to grow and sell food in downtown because it had been prohibited up to that point. And it is really a community project. It is remarkable the breadth of people that are supporting that project, and I will speak more about it later. But the reason I mention that is because I know that I never would have met those women. I know that those women would not have gotten the support that they have if it weren't for Connecting the Good and the local food network that we helped to found, and many other things that happen to really get us out of our own special groups into the broader community. And that's why I'm here, is both to learn from you all how you all have gotten more grounded and more prepared to work in the community, and then to share with you all what I hope to do with the community and hear from you all as well. And so that's really why we're here, is to make ourselves prepared and to make a more connected community. I'm going to read the intention statement that's on your agenda, and I welcome you to join with me out loud or in your head, or just listen along. We come together to expand our ability to live and love consciously, to be in service to our community without an expectation of receiving something in return, to be ever expansive and inclusive. We are the Connections Gathering, the model of possibility for connecting the good, and a catalyst for conscious community. We understand that as we speak and act from our hearts, with this intention to awaken ourselves and others, it will move out into the community as a powerful foundation for connection and care. So, as I mentioned, there are some very practical things that do happen. You know, we're all on a spiritual journey. We all have our own, and we're all looking to connect to that something that I call the thing that's greater than ourselves. And I know for myself that these gatherings have helped me put aside or to learn about how others have grown and to incorporate those lessons in my own journey, and that's been a very powerful part of the growth in my life. Obviously, not obviously, this does support your own passion by connecting you with others who may have similar passions in the community. And also, one of the things that this does is it gets us outside of our own network. So for example, I'm passionate about local food, and I know a lot of people in local food. But one of the things we like to talk about is, well, how much do I know about what's going on with senior care in our region? And how much have we got work to get local food into senior care facilities? And could we do more of that? And I don't necessarily know the answer, but somebody who might be working in senior care might have had that same thought and say, gee, what's been going on with local food, and can I bring that in because some of the seniors want to participate in that? So that's just a random example of ways that Connecting the Good help us get outside of our own passions and connect with others to make our community that much stronger. And also to get us out of our own narrow self-interest into the broader community. So those are a lot of the things that will happen, you know, in the individual meeting, but over the series of the course of meetings. And so I encourage you to sort of watch that. You know, Richard and I have talked before, and how do we measure the success of connecting the good? There's no objective measure where you can go out and say, okay, we have 1,200 people that have connected with each other, or we've had 1,200 community meetings. It just is a sense that I have that it's been a big part of this community and making a stronger community. I could go on, but I'll skip. A few things that I want to mention about the guidelines for our meeting. One of the most important things, and one of the things that I know I struggle with a lot, is speaking from the heart and sharing from the heart. There are many reasons why I want to analyze. I'm a project manager professionally, and I'm paid to analyze situations and figure out how to make things happen. But what we're doing here is to be present with ourselves and with the group and speaking from our heart. And what that means is that we're sharing from ourselves and not trying to intellectualize and take in and analyze others. And so we avoid crosstalk. And this is one of the hardest things, is because many times in a group like this, you're experienced, in fact, you're encouraged to interact and to say, oh, that's interesting, this happened to me in the same way, or let me tell you what I think you might do in this situation. Because we're sharing from our own heart, it's more important to stay with your own experience and reflect with your own experience rather than try to comment or address somebody else's experience. We're not here to solve somebody's personal issues. It's not a therapy group. It can be very therapeutic, but we're not here to be therapizing on one another, as a term. Also very important, confidentiality. Richard and I have been discussing what to do about the videos. Certainly, as I mentioned earlier, that if you feel uncomfortable sharing with the video running, you don't have to share a particular story, or you can ask Richard to later strike that particular sharing. But really, confidentiality is very important. I do share, others share very personal things going on with them, and we need to know that those are going to go no further. Certainly, if you want to talk in general about things that you've heard in the meeting, but please don't. There's nothing attributable and nothing confidential that goes outside of here. We're working towards building the unity of this group. I think we can say safely that there are a lot of structures in our society that don't encourage unity, that encourage us segregating into our own special interests. Really, here tonight, we're to build a resonance and a connection to each other. And therefore, we avoid speaking about polarizing political beliefs or religious beliefs, things that are not going to be shared as a group. A few months ago, I had a conversation with somebody who was really taken aback by that statement, because they were wondering, well, if their motivation is their religious beliefs, what do they have to say here? And I explained, I want to hear everything about the way it motivates them, but I don't want them to say it's going to motivate you in the same way. And so it really is sharing how you're motivated and what you're doing, but not believing that somebody else has to assume those beliefs, because otherwise you'll alienate that person, you'll alienate the group, and you break the unity of the group. So really think about how you are sharing in such a way that you're sharing where you're coming from, and not presupposing that somebody has to come from the same place. One of the things that I'll try to do as facilitators, and we'll also have John and Marta as facilitators of our small group, is to make sure everyone has an opportunity to speak. If you notice that somebody hasn't, please speak up, but otherwise you might self-monitor yourself and make sure that you're not overwhelming the group. We'll try to stop that, but anyway, we want to make sure everyone has a chance to participate. Obviously, as you're listening, you're taking in, and you're not interrupting, you're not jumping in. One of the things that we've discussed as a movement is whether or not we want pauses between each speaker. We haven't done that yet, but it is a way to think about the communication style, because if you're waiting to jump in, that means you're waiting to respond. And you're not really thinking about from yourself. You're saying, I've got to respond to that person. So just listen deeply and be prepared to share from yourself, even after 10 or 15 seconds. It's a nice time to pause. And I'll come back to some of these other things as we get into that. So, okay, any questions about those guidelines? Okay, so The next portion of the meeting is the check-in, and we're gonna stop for a minute. Richard wants to do a little logistical thing.